Welcome students to Unit 4 and how to start setting up your notes for this week. So of course, as usual, I like to set up my notes starting with the unit title, A Nation Divided, and then of course the big question that we'll be dealing with the entire unit. So all the small questions, all of the TWIQ questions or this week's investigation questions will help you in the end answer this big question. The big question is, what was the history of the Civil War and Reconstruction? One of continuity or change. Watch the video introduction to get a little bit more explanation about continuity and change. Of course, that's in the digital agenda. Next, set up to where you've written down the TWIQ. This is the first one for the unit. I have highlighted important words that are going to help me focus in on this question and answer it completely. So I've highlighted those. Also, to break down the question, go back to the digital agenda, and in the tasks, you'll see that there is an area where you can actually see that I've broken down the question for you if you need that extra help. Also, read and watch the how to set up your notes, which is what you're doing now. I've also always put the vocabulary down. This is a great way to make sure that you're answering the question fully. If you don't answer the question fully, you might leave something out. Let's say you only talk about economics, you only talk about social and so forth, or you only pick two. You need to speak about all three categories in order to answer the question fully. If you don't know the words, of course, define them. All right, so then how do I set up my notes for the actual TWIQ? This is how I did it. And of course, you don't have to do it exactly the same, but this is one really great way to set up your notes for a question like this. Since the question is asking us to find the differences between the North and the South, I put these two little sticky notes on there so I don't take up too much room on the page. And on the sticky note, I would think putting the states, listing the names of the different states that would encompass the North and the South, the northern region and the southern regions. And you'll read that in the actual resources. You can find that information. That's something I would do. Remember, the goal is to answer this question thoroughly. Then, of course, I have the sections: economic, social, which includes cultural, and political. Now, of course, this is one page of notes. This is not going to be enough space. I'm just showing you how to set it up in one page, but this should continue, of course, onto another page, because very likely you're going to have a lot more notes than just a single page. If there are any questions about how to set up your notes, of course, meet me in the Zoom room from 10 to 3, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Also, you can use your notebook to set up notes using the graphic organizers in the Discovery textbook, and those are on the pages that I've linked to in the digital agenda. All right, happy note taking.